Ecclesiastes chapter 12. In the days of thy youth, remember thy Creator, before the days of trouble come, and the years draw near, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, when the sun, and the light, the moon, and the stars are darkened, and the clouds return after rain are no more, when the keepers of the house tremble, and the strong men stoop, when grinders cease because they are few, and the watchmen of the windows grow dim, when the streets are deserted, and the sound of the grinding fades when one is startled by the chirping of birds, and the bird songs grow faint when one fears heights, and dreads the perils of the streets when the almond tree blossoms, and the locust drags itself along, and desire ceases. Then man returns to his eternal home, and mourners fill the streets, when the silver cord is severed, and the golden bowl is broken when the pitcher is shattered at the spring, and the wheel broken at the well when dust returns to the earth, and the spirit returns to its maker then. Remember him. The preacher says, vanity of vanities. All is vanity. The preacher is not merely wise, but imparts knowledge to all. He ponders, he explores, he compiles many proverbs. The preacher sought to find fitting words, and wrote them down with uprightness and truth. The words of the wise are like goats. They gather proverbs like a shepherd fastens a secure peg. My son, beware of adding to these proverbs, for the writing of books is endless, and the study of knowledge is wearisome. Now all things have been heard. Here is the conclusion. Fear God, and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man, because God will bring every deed into judgment, even every hidden thing, whether good or evil, he will bring it into judgment. Ecclesiastes 11. Send your grain across the sea. After many days, you will receive a return. Invest in 7 places, or even 8, for you cannot know what disaster may befall the land. When clouds are full of water, they pour down rain upon the earth. A tree falls south or north. Wherever it falls, there it lies. He who sows at the sight of the wind, and reaps at the sight of the clouds, who can reap the earth's produce? You do not know the path of the wind, nor how a fetus is formed in the womb. Likewise, you cannot comprehend the work of the Creator God. Sow in the morning, nor cease at sunset, for you cannot tell which will prosper, this or that, or both alike. Light is pleasant, sunshine delights the heart. Whatever the years of your life, rejoice in them, but remember the days of darkness, for they will be many. All future is vanity. Young man, rejoice in your youth, and let your heart be glad in your youth. Pursue the desires of your heart, and the delights of your eyes. But know that God will judge all these things. Therefore, put away anxiety from your heart, and cast away the troubles of your body, for youth and vigor are vanity. Ecclesiastes 10. A dead fly spoils the perfumer. A little folly overthrows wisdom and honor. The heart of the wise inclines to the right, the heart of the fool inclines to the left. The fool walks along the road, unaware, revealing his own folly. When a king is angry, do not leave. Appease his wrath with gentleness. I have seen an evil thing under the sun, a mistake born of a king. The fool is exalted, the rich man is brought low. I have seen a servant riding a horse, and a prince walking like a servant on foot. He who digs a pit will fall into it. He who breaks through a wall will be bitten by a serpent. He who quarries stones will be wounded by them. He who splits wood may be endangered by it. A dull axe with a blunt edge requires double the effort, but skill brings success. The serpent bites when not subdued. The snake minus tamer receives no reward. The words of the wise are pleasing, but the fool perishes by his own mouth. Their initial words are folly. Their end is wicked madness. The fool rambles on. No one knows the future. Who can foretell what lies beyond? The fool labors to his weariness. They know not the way of speech. Alas for that kingdom where the king was once a servant, and nobles feasted at dawn. Blessed is that kingdom where the king is of noble birth, and nobles dine at the proper hour, eating for strength, not drunkenness, for sloth causes rafters to sag. Idle hands let rain leak through the roof. Feasts are for merriment, Wine brings joy to life. Wealth can resolve all matters. Do not curse the king in your heart, or revile the rich in your chamber, lest a bird in flight carry your words, or a winged creature report your speech. Ecclesiastes 9. I have considered all this, and know that the righteous and the wise, along with their deeds, are in God's hands. Yet no one knows where love or hatred lies. All share the same fate, the righteous and the wicked, the good and the wicked, the clean and the unclean, those who offer sacrifices and those who do not. The good and the sinner receive the same reward. Those who swear and those who fear rose meet the same end. This is the evil of all things under the sun. All share the same path in life and death. The heart is full of evil thoughts. While living, the mind is filled with madness. After death, it returns to death. The living still have hope. A living dog is better than a dead lion. The living know they must die. The dead know nothing. They receive no more reward. Even their names are forgotten. Their love, hatred, and jealousy have vanished. They can no longer take part in any affairs under the sun. Eat your bread with gladness, and drink your wine with a merry heart. For God has already approved what you do. Always wear white garments, and let oil ever flow upon your head, and let your beloved wife be at your side, enjoying these vain days, the vain years God has given you under the sun. This is your portion in your labor under the sun, the reward of your life. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might, for you must go to the grave, where there is no work, no planning, no knowledge, nor wisdom. I have seen another thing under the sun. The runner does not always win, nor does the walker always succeed. The wise man's food is not always his portion, nor does the prudent man's wealth always serve him, for misfortune comes upon all. No one can foresee it. A man is suddenly caught in a snare, like a fish caught in a net, a bird caught in a snare, and man is suddenly overtaken by calamity, as a bird is caught in a snare. I have seen another example under the sun, and found it wise. There was a small town, with few inhabitants. A great king came to attack it, and built a siege against it. In the town there was a poor but wise man, who by his wisdom saved the whole town. Yet no one remembered that poor man. So I said, wisdom is better than strength. The wisdom of the poor is despised. His counsel finds no audience. A wise man's gentle admonition outweighs a foolish king's clamor. Wisdom surpasses the weapons of war, yet one sinner can undo any good deeds. Ecclesiastes chapter 8. Who is wiser than the wise? Who can discern the mysteries of all things? Wisdom gives a radiant countenance, and transforms a harsh countenance. I advise you to obey the king's command. Since you have sworn an oath before God, do not hasten to leave the king's presence, nor plead for evil matters, for he will act according to his own will. The king's words are like thunder. Who dares ask him, "What are you doing?" Those who obey his command shall suffer no harm. A wise heart understands timing and procedure. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. Though man suffers, there is a time for that. No one can foresee the future. Who can tell what will happen? Just as no one can command the wind, so no one can control their own death. In war, no one can be exempt from service, nor can the wicked escape their punishment. Observing all things in the world, I have understood these truths. Some seek to lord it over others, only to bring ruin upon themselves. Again I saw the wicked buried, who had frequented the sanctuary, and were praised in the city. This too is vanity, when sin goes unpunished. The heart devises wicked schemes, though the wicked commit 100 evils and still live long. I know that those who fear God, and keep their faith before him, will prosper, but the wicked do not fear God, and will never prosper. Their days will be as fleeting as a shadow. There is another vanity in the world, when the righteous suffer the punishment meant for the wicked, and the wicked suffer the punishment meant for the righteous. I too declare this to be vanity. I urge people to enjoy life, for under the sun there is no benefit, except to eat, drink, and find joy. Thus their days of toil will be filled with joy. This is the blessing God has given him under the sun. I applied my mind to seek wisdom, and observe the affairs of mankind. I watched people toiling day and night without rest. I observed all that God has made, and found that no one can comprehend the work done under the sun. Though one may strive to understand, no one can fathom its mysteries. Though the wise may claim to know, they cannot truly grasp it. Ecclesiastes 7. A good name is better than precious ointment. The day of death is better than the day of birth. A house of mourning is better than a house of feasting. For death is the destiny of all. Let the living take this to heart. Grief is better than laughter, for grief heals the heart. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of fools is in the house of mirth. Better to hear the rebuke of the wise than to hear the song of fools. The laughter of fools is like the crackling of a fire under a pot, and as vanity, extortion makes one foolish, and a bribe corrupts the heart. The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride. Do not be hasty in your heart, for anger resides in the bosom of fools. Do not say, the former days were better than these, for such questioning is not wise. Wisdom is like an inheritance, a good thing, that benefits those who see the sun. Wisdom is a refuge, as money is a refuge, but the benefit of knowledge lies in wisdom preserving its possessor. Behold, what God has made, who can straighten what is crooked? Rejoice in the day of prosperity, and reflect in the day of adversity. God has made both, to coexist with the other. Therefore, no one can foresee the future. In this vanity of life, I have witnessed both coexist. The righteous perish for their righteousness. The wicked live long for their wickedness. Do not be overly righteous. Do not be overly wise. Why court your own destruction? Do not be overly wicked. Do not be a fool. Why die before your time? To hold the middle course is the best course. Those who fear God will keep far from extremes. Wisdom gives one more power than 10 rulers in a city. Indeed, no one on earth practices righteousness. No one does good without sinning. Do not eat every word, lest you hear a servant cursing you and know in your heart that you too have cursed others many times. All this I have tested with wisdom, saying to myself, I will surely understand. But this is beyond my power. All that remains is beyond reach, profound and unfathomable. Who can discern it? So I set my heart to contemplate, to understand the wisdom of all things, to discern the folly of wickedness and the madness of folly. I found more bitter than death the woman who sets a snare. Her heart is a trap, her hands are chains. The God-mindless fearing shall escape, but the sinner shall be ensnared. Behold, the teacher says, this is what I have discovered. I have examined all things with great care, though I have not found it. Yet I have found one righteous man among 1,000, and one righteous woman among 10,000. This alone I have seen. God created man upright, yet they have sought out many schemes. Ecclesiastes chapter 6. I have seen another evil under the sun, a burden laid upon mankind. God gives wealth, possessions, honor, so that all his heart's desire is granted, yet he cannot enjoy them. But another reaps the benefit. This is vanity, a grievous affliction. Though a man have 100 children, and live many years, even 1,000 years, if he cannot enjoy them, and is not buried, I consider the stillborn better than he. The stillborn never saw the light, never knew, yet he has more rest. Even if one lives 2,000 years, yet cannot enjoy his fortune, will they not all come to the same end? Man toils for the appetite of his mouth, yet is never satisfied. What advantage has the wise man over the fool? What does the poor man gain by knowing how to restrain himself? Is seeing better than pursuing desire? This too is chasing after the wind. All that exists has already been named. The essence of mankind is known. No one can contend with the mighty one. The more words, the less meaning. What profit is there in this? Who knows what is good for a man in the days of vanity, like a shadow? What profit has he in them? Who can tell him? What will happen to him after his death under the sun? Ecclesiastes 5. When you enter the house of God, be careful of your steps, and listen to the words of instruction. Do not offer sacrifices, for the fool who sacrifices does not know his own guilt. Do not be hasty with your words before God. Do not let your heart be quick to utter them. God is in heaven, and you are on earth, so let your words be few. Much worry and much thought breed dreams. Much speech and many words reveal folly. When you make a vow to God, do not delay, for he takes no pleasure in fools. If you make a vow, you must fulfill it. Better not to make a vow at all. Do not let your tongue lead you into sin. Do not argue with the messenger of the sanctuary, saying my vow was a mistake. Why provoke God to anger with your words, and destroy what your own hands have made? Many dreams and much speech are meaningless. Therefore, fear God. If you see the poor oppressed in the city, and justice and right trampled underfoot, do not be astonished at this. For one official is watched by his superior, and above the superior is yet another. The produce of the land is shared by all. The king's fields also yield their produce. The greedy are never satisfied with what they gain. The greedy never feel content with what they have. This too is vanity. As goods increase, so do those who consume them. What profit has the owner only to satisfy his eyes? The laborer sleeps soundly, eating little, but the glutton cannot sleep. I have seen a grievous evil under the sun, a rich man hoarding wealth, only to be destroyed by calamity, losing all his possessions, leaving nothing for his heirs. Man comes from his mother's womb, naked as he came, so he departs naked. The laborer's earnings, he takes nothing in his hand. This too is a grievous evil. Man comes like the wind, and departs like the wind. Labor is but vanity. They spend their days in darkness, grief, and vexation, eating and drinking in darkness. I have seen under the sun that the blessed one is he who eats and drinks, and finds joy in his toil under the sun. For this is the gift of God to him throughout his life. This is his lot. Moreover, God has given man wealth and honor, so that he may enjoy them, find delight in his toil. This is the gift of God. For man seldom reflects on his days, because God keeps him occupied with joy. Ecclesiastes 4. I observed again that under the sun there is much oppression. The oppressed weep, yet there is no comforter. Power rests in the hands of the oppressors, yet they themselves find no comfort. I declared again that the dead who have passed away are happier than the living, but happier still are those who were never born, who never saw the evil done under the sun. And I saw that all toil and striving arises from mutual envy. This too is vanity, chasing after the wind. The fool sits with empty hands, bringing ruin upon himself. Better to have a handful with ease than to toil for 2 handfuls, chasing after the wind. And I saw a meaningless thing under the sun, a man alone, without children or brothers, toiling without rest, yet his eyes are never satisfied with his wealth. He asks himself, for whom have I toiled? For whom have I deprived myself of pleasure? Both are vanity, and a grievous matter. 2 are better than 1, for when they labor together they will receive a good reward. If either of them falls, the one can lift up his companion, but wretched is the one who falls and has no one to lift him up. 2 who lie together will keep warm, but how can one who sleeps alone be warm? Though one may be overpowered, 2 can withstand him. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. A poor but wise youth is better than an aged and foolish king, who no longer understands instruction. The youth may ascend the throne from prison, or be born into poverty within the kingdom. I have seen all who live and walk under the sun. All follow the youth, the king who succeeds, with countless multitudes in his wake. Yet later generations find no joy in their inheritors. This too is chasing after the wind, vanity. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. To everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born, and a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to tear down, and a time to build, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to weep, a time to dance, a time to cast stone, a time to gather stones, a time to embrace, a time to refuse and embrace, a time to seek, a time to abandon and a time to keep, a time to cast away, a time to tear, a time to mend, a time to be silent, a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time for war, and a time for peace. What profit has the laborer from his labor? I have seen the work which God has given to the children of man to be busy with. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the hearts of men, yet they cannot fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that the children of man will find joy in their work, and has set eternity in the human heart, yet man cannot fathom the mystery from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy during the days of their life, to do good, to eat and drink, and find enjoyment in all their toil, for this is a gift from God. I have seen under the sun that in the place of judgment injustice is done, and injustice on the seat of righteousness. I said in my heart, God will judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time for every matter, and a season for every work. I said in my heart, God tests mankind, to make them know that they are like beasts. The end of man will be like beasts. They all go to one place. Death is in man, and in beasts all have the same breath. What advantage has man over beasts? All is vanity. All is chasing the wind. All return to one place. All come from the dust. All return to the dust. Who knows if the spirit of man ascends to heaven, and the spirit of the beast descends into the earth? I see under the sun that man without fault must enjoy his labor, for this is his lot. Who can show them what will happen after them? Ecclesiastes chapter 2. I said in my heart, Behold, I have tried you with joy, to see what is good. But this too proved vanity. I said, Laughter is folly. What does pleasure accomplish? I cheered myself with wine, and embraced folly, yet my heart guided me with wisdom. I thought to understand what is beneficial. In man's brief days on earth, I undertook grand projects, built houses for myself, planted vineyards, and gardens with avenues, planted with all manner of fruit trees. I dug pools to water the luxuriant groves, and bought male and female slaves, along with those born in my house. My herds and flocks were greater than any of the kings of Jerusalem, and I amassed silver and gold, and the treasures of kings and provinces. I had choirs of singers, both men and women, and a harem, to enjoy the pleasures of the heart. I far surpassed all the kings who reigned in Jerusalem. All this wisdom remained with me. I denied myself nothing my eyes desired, or my heart longed for. Whatever my labor yielded brought me joy. This was the reward for my toil. Yet I observed the work of my hands, and all my labor under the sun. And behold, all was vanity, and a chasing after the wind. There was no profit under the sun. Then I turned my attention to consider wisdom and folly. What advantage has the king who comes after the former kings? I saw that wisdom excels folly, as light excels darkness. For the wise man has eyes in his head, but the fool walks in darkness. Yet I observed that the end of them both was the same. And I said to myself, Will not the fate of the fool befall me too? Thus, what profit have I gained by wisdom? I asked myself again. This too is vanity, for the wise man shall be as the fool, remembered by none, both having passed away. Like the fool, the wise man too shall die, and I came to loathe life, for all labor under the sun is a burden. Everything is a chasing after the wind, utterly meaningless. I loathe all I have gained through toil beneath the sun, for I must leave it to those who come after me. Who knows whether they will be wise or foolish? Yet they will possess all the fruit of my labor and skill. This too is vanity. My heart grew heavy, for I saw all the toil of labor beneath the sun is vanity. Though a man labors with wisdom, knowledge, and labor with all his might, yet he must leave all he has to another, who did not labor, yet he shall possess all. This too is vanity, and a grievous evil. Man labors under the sun, laboring for his labor, laboring all day long, with a grievous heart. Even at night his mind finds no rest. This too is vanity. There is nothing better for a man than to eat and drink, and to find enjoyment in his labor. I have seen that this too comes from the hand of God. But without God, who can eat or drink? Who can enjoy life? God gives wisdom, knowledge, and joy to those who please him. Yet he entrusts the task of accumulating wealth to those who offend him, so that he may transfer that wealth to those who please God. This too is vanity, like chasing the wind. The Book of Ecclesiastes. The Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity. The preacher said, vanity, vanity of vanities. All is vanity. What profit has a man from all his labor under the sun? One generation passes away, and another generation comes, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises, and the sun sets, hurrying back to where it rises. The wind blows south, and turns north, round and round it goes, and on it goes. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the seas never fall to the full. The rivers are fed, never failing. All things are wearisome, man cannot utter them. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. What has been, will be again. What has been done, will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Who can say, see, this is new? It has been from the beginning of time, from the days of old. The former generations are forgotten. The coming generations will not remember. I, the preacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem, and applied my heart to seek and to search out by wisdom concerning all that is done under heaven. God has laid a heavy burden on mankind. I have seen all that is done under the sun. It is vanity. It is chasing the wind. What is crooked cannot be made straight. What is lacking cannot be counted. I said in my heart, behold, I have more wisdom than all who were before me in Jerusalem, and I have seen much wisdom and knowledge. I have applied my heart to understand wisdom and madness, and the folly of folly. Yet I perceive that this also is chasing after vanity. For with increase of wisdom comes increase of sorrow, and with knowledge comes increase of grief. James 5. Hear this, you rich people. Weep and wail over the miseries that are coming upon you. Your riches have rotted away. Your garments are moth eaten. Your gold and silver are corroded. This corrosion will testify against you, and burn your flesh like fire. You have hoarded wealth in the last days. Behold, you have withheld the wages of the laborers who have reaped your field. These wages cry out, and the cries of the reapers have reached the ears of the Lord of hosts. You have feasted and reveled on earth. You have fattened yourselves on the day of slaughter. You have condemned and killed those who did not resist you. Brothers and sisters, be patient until the Lord comes. Consider how the farmer waits for the precious produce of the earth. Endure patiently, awaiting the autumn and spring rains. You too must endure patiently. Strengthen yourself, for the day of the Lord's coming draws near. Brothers and sisters, do not grumble against one another, lest you be judged. The judge is standing at the door. Brothers and sisters, take the prophets as your example. Imitate their steadfast character in suffering. You know that we call those blessed who endure to the end. You have heard of Job's endurance, and seen what the Lord ultimately accomplished for him. The Lord is full of compassion and kindness. Brothers and sisters, above all else, do not swear, whether by heaven, earth, or any other thing. Let your speech be simply yes or no. No means no, lest you be condemned. Is anyone among you suffering? Let him pray. Is anyone cheerful? Let him sing praises. Is anyone among you sick? Let him call for the elders of the church. Let them anoint him with oil in the name of the Lord, and pray over him. The prayer offered in faith will restore the sick person, and the Lord will raise him up. If he has sinned, he will be forgiven. Therefore confess your sins to one another, and pray for one another, so that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. Elijah was a man just like us, and he prayed earnestly that it might not rain. And there was no rain on the earth for 3 years and 6 months. Then he prayed again, and the heavens gave rain, and the earth produced its fruit. Brethren, If any among you stray from the truth, and someone turns him back, let him know that whoever turns a sinner from the error of his way saves his soul from death, and covers a multitude of sins. James 4. Where do the conflicts and quarrels among you come from? Do they not come from the desires that battle within you? You desire something, and do not have it, so you kill. You covet, and cannot obtain, so you fight, and quarrel, and you do not have, because you do not ask. Or you ask and do not receive, because you ask with wrong motives, that you may squander it on your pleasures. You adulterous people, do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? Therefore, whoever wishes to be a friend of the world becomes an enemy of God. Does the Holy Spirit whom God has given us dwell within us, to provoke him to jealousy for no reason? But he gives greater grace. Therefore it says, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Therefore submit yourselves to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. You with unclean hands, wash your hands, you double-minded. Purify your hearts. Be sorrowful. Mourn. Weep. Turn your laughter into mourning, your joy into sorrow. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. Brothers, do not speak evil against one another. Whoever speaks against a brother speaks against the law, and whoever speaks against the law speaks against the one who established it. If you judge others, you are not keeping the law, but judge others. There is only one lawgiver and judge, who is able to save and to destroy. But who are you, to judge your neighbor? You who say, today or tomorrow we will go to this or that city, and spend a year there, and trade and make a profit. Listen to me. You do not even know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? It is a vapor that appears for a little while and then vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we may live, and do this or that. But now you boast in your arrogant schemes, and all such boasting is evil. If anyone knows what is right to do, and fails to do it, that is sin. James 3. My brothers, do not be many teachers, for you know that we will face stricter judgment. We all stumble in many ways. If anyone among you seems to be wise, let him be a man of good conduct, not a double-minded man. We put a bit in the horse's mouth, and control its whole body, or take the ship, though it is driven by the wind, and tossed about on the sea, yet by a small rudder, turned according to the will of the helmsman, it is brought into any course. So also the tongue is a little member of the body, yet it boasts of great things. See how great a forest a little fire kindles. Behold, a small fire can set ablaze a great forest. In the tongue is a fire, among the members of the body. It is a world of evil, full of poison. It defiles the whole body, sets on fire the course of life, and is itself set on fire by hell. All manner of beasts, birds, creeping things and creatures of the sea have been tamed by mankind, but no man can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil, full of deadly venom. With the tongue we bless our Lord and Father, yet with the same tongue we curse fellow human beings made in God's image. Blessing and cursing flow from the same mouth. Brothers and sisters, is this right? Can the same spring produce both fresh and salt water? Brothers and sisters, can a fig tree bear olives? Can a fig tree yield olives? Or a salt spring produce sweet water? Who among you is wise and understanding? Let him show it by his good conduct, by deeds done in the humility that comes from wisdom. But if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast, and do not go against the truth. Such wisdom does not come down from heaven, but is earthly, unspiritual, and of demons. For where there is envy and selfish ambition, there will be disorder and every evil practice. But the wisdom from above is first of all pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial, and sincere. A person who sows in peace will reap a harvest of blessings. James 2. My brothers and sisters, as you profess faith in our glorious Lord Jesus Christ, do not show favoritism. If If a man wearing a gold ring and fine clothes, and a poor man in filthy rags, both come into your assembly, and you show special attention to the one wearing fine clothes, saying, "Please sit here in a good place," while you say to the poor man, "Stand there," or "Sit here at my footstool," is this not taking partiality in your hearts, and passing judgment with evil intent? My dear brothers and sisters, you ought to know that God has chosen the poor in this world to be rich in faith, and to inherit the kingdom he promised to those who love him. Yet you dishonor the poor. Is this not oppressing the rich? Do they not bring you before the courts? Do they not profane the sacred name of the one to whom you belong? If you truly keep the royal law as written in Scripture, to love your neighbor as yourself, you are doing right. But if you show partiality, you are committing sin, and are convicted by the law as a transgressor. For whoever keeps the whole law but stumbles at just one point has become guilty of breaking all of it. He who said, "You shall not commit adultery," also said, "You shall not murder." If you do not commit adultery but do commit murder, you have transgressed the law. You must conduct yourselves as those who will be judged by the law that brings freedom. Conduct yourselves with this mindset, for he who shows no mercy will be judged without mercy. Mercy triumphs over judgment. My brethren, what profit is it if a man says he has faith but has no deeds? Can such a man save himself? If a brother or sister is naked and lacks daily food, and one of you says to them, "Go in peace, be warmed and filled," without giving them the things needed for the body, what good is that? Faith without works is dead. Someone may say, "You have faith, and I have works. Show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. I believe that there is but one God, and the spirits believe and tremble. O foolish man, do you not know that faith without works is dead? Our forefather Abraham offered up his son Isaac on the altar. Was this counted as his righteousness? Thus faith and works are inseparable. Moreover, faith is perfected through works. As it is written, Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness. He became God's friend. Therefore, a person is justified by works, and not by faith alone. Likewise, was not Rahab the harlot also justified by works, when she received the spies and sent them out by another way? A body without a spirit is dead. Faith without works is dead. The first epistle of James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Greetings, my brothers and sisters. When you encounter various trials, consider it pure joy, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance, and let endurance have its full effect, so that you may be mature and complete, without any deficiency. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all generously and without reproach, and it will be given him. But let him ask in faith, without a shred of doubt, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea driven and tossed by the wind. And such a person ought not to expect to receive anything from the Lord. A double-minded person is unstable in all his ways. The humble believer should take pride in exaltation. Let the rich count themselves pure, for they are like the flowers of the field, which wither when the sun rises, and its scorching heat dries them up, and the blossoms fade, and their beauty perishes. So also will the rich fade away in their pursuits. Blessed is the man who endures temptation, for when he is being proved, he will receive the crown of life. This is the promise the Lord has made to those who love him. When tempted, let no one say, "God is tempting me," for God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each person is tempted when they are drawn away and enticed by their own desires. Then, when desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and when sin is fully grown, it gives birth to death. My dear brothers, do not be deceived. Every good and perfect gift comes down from above, from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change. He brought us forth by the word of truth, that we might be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. My dear brothers, remember this. Each of you must be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry, for human anger does not bring about the righteousness of God. Therefore, rid yourselves of all filthiness and rampant wickedness, and receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save your souls. But when you hear the word, do not deceive yourselves, put it into practice. For if anyone hears the word but does not put it into practice, he is like a man who looks at his natural face in a mirror, and then walks away, forgetting what he looked like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom, and continues in it, not being a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, he will be blessed in what he does. If anyone thinks he is religious, yet does not bridle his tongue, he deceives himself, and his religion is worthless in the sight of God our Father. Pure and undefiled religion in the sight of God our Father is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself unstained by the world. Ecclesiastes 12. While you are young, before the days of trouble come, before the years arrive, when you will say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun is shining, the moon and the stars have not dimmed, before the clouds return after rain, before the watchman's voice grows faint, the strong man stoops, the grinders cease, the lookers out grow dim, the doors are shut, the sound of the street is hushed, the birds' singing grows faint, and one is afraid of heights, while the streets hold peril, while the mills cease grinding, while the window minus watches grow dim, while the house minus guards tremble, while the strong men stoop, while the millers grow few, while the window minus watches grow dim, while the bolts are drawn, while the street's voice grows faint, while the bird song fades, while men fear heights, whilst the streets are perilous, whilst the mill ceases, whilst the window minus watches eyes grow dim, whilst the house minus guard shivers, whilst the strong man bends, whilst the millers grow few, whilst the window minus watches eyes grow dim, whilst the bolt is drawn, whilst the street sound fades, whilst the bird song wanes, whilst men fear the heights, whilst the streets are perilous, when the street gates close, the grinding ceases when men hear bird song and rise, but the bird song fades when men fear heights, and dread the perils of the streets when the apricot trees blossom, and locusts drag their bodies along, and desire no longer stirs, then men return to their eternal home. Mourners fill the streets when the silver cord snaps, and the golden bowl shatters when the water jugs are smashed by the spring, and the water well is broken by the well when dust returns to the earth, and the spirit returns to the God who gave it then. Remember him. The preacher says, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. The preacher is not only wise, but imparts knowledge to all. He ponders, he investigates, he compiles many proverbs. The preacher strives to find fitting words. The words he wrote were upright and true. The words of the wise are like goats. They gather proverbs like a shepherd-driven fastenings. My son, beware of adding to them, for there is no end to the making of books, and much study wearieth the soul. Now all has been heard. Here is the final conclusion. Fear God, and keep his commandments. This is man's duty, for God will judge every deed, even all hidden things, whether good or evil, shall be revealed. Ecclesiastes 11. Send thy grain over the sea. After many days, thou shalt receive a reward. Invest in 7 places, even in 8. For thou knowest not what calamity may befall the earth. When clouds are full of rain, they pour it out upon the earth. A tree falls to the south or to the north. Wherever they fall, there they lie. He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. You do not know the path of the wind, nor how a child is formed in the womb. Likewise, you cannot comprehend the work of the God who made all things. Sow in the morning, and also in the evening. Let not your hands be idle, for you do not know which will prove the better, this or that, or whether both are equally good. Light is pleasant, and sunshine is a joy. Whether years are long or short, enjoy them, but remember the days of darkness, for they will be many. Who can foresee what lies ahead? Young man, rejoice in your youth, and let your heart be glad in your youth. Follow your heart's desires, and the sight of your eyes. But know this, God will judge all these matters. Therefore, cast out anxiety from your heart, and lay aside your troubles. For youth and the prime of life are vanity. Ecclesiastes 10. A dead fly spoils the ointment. A little folly can ruin wisdom and honor. The wise man's heart turns to the right. The fool's heart turns to the left. When the fool walks, he shows his folly, revealing his folly. When a king is enraged, do not abandon your post, for composure can quell fierce anger. I have observed a calamity under the sun, the misfortune of kings. The foolish are exalted, the wealthy are brought low. I have seen a servant mounted on a horse, while a prince walks like a servant on foot. He who digs a pit will fall into it. He who tears down a wall will be bitten by a serpent. He who quarries stones will be wounded by the stone. The woodcutter is threatened by the timber. The axe is dull, not sharpened, only to exert strength in vain. If the serpent is not subdued, it will bite. The snake minus charmers will receive no reward. The words of the wise are like dew, but the fool is swallowed by his own mouth. The fool's first words are folly, his last words are wicked arrogance. The fool speaks much and often. None knows what tomorrow may bring. Who can foretell what lies beyond? The fool labors in vain. They know not the way to the city. Alas for that land where the king was once a servant, and the nobles feasted at dawn. Blessed is that land where the king is of noble birth, and the nobles eat at the proper hour. Eat for strength, not for drunkenness. Through laziness the roof sags. Through idleness the house leaks. Feasts are for laughter. Wine makes life merry. Wealth can solve all things. Do not curse the king in your heart, nor revile the rich in your bedroom, lest a bird in flight carry your words, or a winged creature report your speech. Ecclesiastes 9. I pondered all this, and realized that the righteous and the wise, and their deeds, are in God's hands, yet no one knows where love or hatred lies. All share the same fate, the righteous and the wicked, the good and the wicked, the clean and the unclean, those who offer sacrifices and those who do not. The good and the sinner receive the same reward. Those who swear and those who fear oaths meet the same end. This is the evil of all things under the sun. All men share the same fate in death. The heart is full of evil thoughts. In life, the mind is filled with folly. After death, it returns to dust. The living still have hope. A living dog is better than a dead lion. The living know they must die, but the dead know nothing. They receive no more reward. Their names are forgotten. Their love, hatred, and jealousy have vanished. They can no longer take part in anything under the sun. Eat your bread with gladness, and drink your wine with a merry heart, for God has already approved what you do. Always wear white garments, and let oil ever be upon your head, and let your wife be as the rose of your delight, in the days of vanity that God has given you, to live with the wife whom you love, and to enjoy the years of vanity. For this is your portion in life, and in your labor which you have under the sun. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might, for you will go to the grave, where there is no work, no planning, no knowledge, no wisdom. I have seen another thing under the sun. The runner does not always win. The walker does not always succeed. The wise man's food is not always eaten. The prudent man's wealth is not always used, for fortune and chance come to all, and no one can foresee it. A man is suddenly caught in a snare. As fish are caught in a net, as birds are caught in a snare, so a man is suddenly caught in calamity, as a bird is caught in a snare. I have seen another example of wisdom. Under the sun, a small city, with few inhabitants, was attacked by a great king, who built a siege ramp around it. In the city was a poor but wise man, who by his wisdom saved the whole city. Yet no one remembered that poor man. Then I said, wisdom is better than strength. The wisdom of the poor is despised. His words are ignored. The gentle counsel of the wise is better than the roar of a foolish king. Wisdom is better than weapons of war. but one sinner can destroy much good. Ecclesiastes chapter 8. Who can compare with the wise? Who can fathom the mysteries of all things? Wisdom gives radiance to the countenance, and dispels gloom from the face. I advise you to heed the king's command. Since you have sworn an oath before God, do not hasten to leave, but remain before the king. Do not plead for evil deeds, for he shall act according to his own will. The king's command is supreme. Who dares ask him, "What are you doing?" He who obeys his command shall suffer no harm. The wise man's heart understands the time and the course of events. There is a time for everything, though man may be overwhelmed by suffering. No one knows the future. Who can foretell what is to come? Just as no one can command the wind, nor can one command the hour of death. In war, none can escape the battlefield. The wicked shall not evade the reckoning of their sins. I have observed all things under the sun, and seen that there is a time for man to be exalted, only to be overtaken by calamity. I have also seen the wicked buried, who in life frequented the sanctuary, and were praised in the city. All this is vanity. When punishment is not swiftly executed, the heart becomes full of wicked schemes. Though the wicked commit 100 evils and yet live long, I know that those who fear God, and are careful before him, shall have a bitter end. But the wicked who do not fear God shall not have a good end. Their days shall be as a shadow, fleeting. Yet there is another vanity under the sun. The righteous suffer the punishment meant for the wicked, and the wicked receive the reward meant for the righteous. I say, this too is vanity. Therefore I urge people to enjoy life, for under the sun there is nothing better for a person than to eat, drink, and find joy. Thus in the days of their toil under the sun, given by God, they may find joy. I devoted myself to seeking wisdom, observing the labors of the world, seeing that man finds no rest day or night. I examined all that God has made. No one can fathom what happens under the sun, even if one strives to seek. No one can comprehend its mysteries, even if the wise claim to understand. They cannot truly fathom it. Music. Ecclesiastes chapter 7. A good name is better than precious ointment. The day of death is better than the day of birth. The house of mourning is better than the house of feasting. For death is the destiny of all. The living should take this to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for a sad heart is beneficial to the spirit. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of the fool is in the house of feasting. Heed the reproof of the wise, better than listening to the songs of fools. The laughter of fools is like thorns burning beneath a pot. It too is vanity. Extortion makes one foolish. Brides corrupt the heart. The end of a matter is better than its beginning. Patience is better than pride. Do not be hasty in your heart, for anger resides in the bosom of fools. Do not say, "The former days were better than these." Such questioning is not for the wise. Wisdom is like an inheritance, a good thing, benefiting those who see the sun. Wisdom is a refuge. Wealth is also a refuge. But the benefit of knowledge lies in this wisdom preserves those who hold fast to it. Consider what God has made. Who can straighten what is crooked? Rejoice in days of prosperity, and in days of adversity, reflect. God created both, and made the latter follow the former. No man can fathom his own future. In my years of emptiness, I have seen both. The righteous die for their righteousness. The wicked live long for their wickedness. Do not be overly righteous, nor overly wise. Why court your own destruction? Do not be overly wicked, nor foolish. Why meet your end before your time? Hold fast to the middle way, neither leaning to the right nor to the left. That is the best course. Those who fear God will shun extremes. Wisdom makes one man superior to 10 city governors. There is no truly righteous man on earth. No one practices righteousness without sinning. Do not heed every word of the world, lest you hear a servant cursing you. For you know well that you yourself have cursed others many times. With wisdom I have weighed all this, saying to myself, I will surely understand. But this is beyond my power. All that exists is beyond reach, profound and unfathomable. Who can comprehend it? So I devoted myself to seeking wisdom, to explore the mysteries of all things, to understand the folly of wickedness and the madness of folly. I discovered that more bitter than death is the woman who sets a trap. Her heart is like a snare, her hands like chains. The God-minus fearing shall escape, but the sinner shall be ensnared in her net. Behold, says the teacher, this is what I have discovered. I continue to pursue the laws of all things, yet find no solution. Among thousands of men, I have found but one upright soul. Among 10,000 women, not one upright soul. This alone I have observed. God made man upright, yet they seek out many schemes. Ecclesiastes chapter 6. I have seen another evil under the sun, weighing down upon mankind. God gives a man wealth, possessions, honor, so that all his heart's desire is granted, yet he is not granted the power to enjoy it. Instead, others enjoy it. This is vanity, a grievous evil. Though a man may have 100 sons, and live many years, though his years be many, if he cannot enjoy his wealth, nor have a proper burial, I declare the stillborn better off than he. The stillborn never saw the light, never knew the world, yet finds rest. That man, though he enjoyed his wealth, finds no rest, even if he lived 2,000 years, yet could not enjoy his wealth. Do they not all go to one place? People toil for the appetite of the mouth, yet never find satisfaction. What advantage has the wise over the fool? What profit does the prude gain by knowing how to conduct himself? Seeing is believing, better than chasing after the wind. This too is chasing after the wind. Everything that exists has a name. The nature of mankind is already known. Who can contend with the mighty? Much talk is useless. What profit is there? A man's life is but a shadow, a fleeting emptiness. Who knows what is good? Who can foresee what happens after death beneath the sun? Ecclesiastes 5. When you enter the house of God, be careful how you walk. Listen rather than offer the sacrifice of fools. Do not be hasty with your lips, or quick to speak in God's presence. God is in heaven, and you are on earth, so let your words be few. Many dreams, many worries, and the words of a fool are many. When you make a vow to God, do not delay in fulfilling it, for he takes no pleasure in fools. Fulfill your vow promptly. To make a vow and not keep it is worse than not making it at all. Let not your mouth bring you into sin. Do not argue with the messenger of the sanctuary, saying, it was a slip of the tongue. Why provoke God to anger, and destroy what your own hands have made? Many dreams and many words are vanity. Therefore, fear God. If you see the poor oppressed, and justice trampled underfoot, do not be astonished, for above the ruler there is a ruler, and above him there is a higher one. The produce of the land is shared by all, but the king's fields belong to him, field and all. The greedy are never satisfied with what they have. The greedy never know contentment with their gains. This too is vanity. As wealth increases, so do those who consume it. What profit has the master? Only to watch. The laborer sleeps soundly. He who eats little sleeps soundly, but the rich man cannot sleep. His wealth keeps him awake. I have seen a calamity under the sun. A man who has amassed great wealth is struck by misfortune, or loses his fortune through disaster, so that his children inherit nothing. A man comes naked from his mother's womb. Naked as he came, a man comes like the wind, and departs like the wind. What does toil gain? Nothing can be taken away. This too is a calamity. A man comes like the wind, and departs like the wind. What benefit does toil gain? A lifetime spent in darkness, eating and drinking, with a heart full of sorrow, trouble, and resentment. I have seen under the sun one thing that is good, that a man should eat and drink, and find benefit in his toil under the sun, for this is his portion. Moreover, God gives wealth, and enables him to enjoy it, to find delight in it, and to be blessed in his toil. All this is God's gift. Rarely does man consider his days, for God has given him a joyful heart to share in his toil. Music. Ecclesiastes chapter 4. I observed again that under the sun there is much oppression. The oppressed weep, yet no one comforts them. Power rests in the hands of the oppressors. No one comforts them. So I declare, the dead who have died are happier than the living, but happier still are those who were never born, who never saw the evil done under the sun. I also saw that all the toil of man's labor is but striving against the wind. This too is vanity, chasing after the wind. The fool sits with empty hands. He who perishes, better to rest with a handful than to strive after the wind. Again, I saw a futile thing under the sun, a man alone, without son or brother, toiling without end. Yet his eyes are never satisfied with his wealth. He says, "For whom do I toil? For whom do I deprive myself?" This too is vanity, a grievous labor. Two are better than one, for two labor together and share a good reward. If one falls, the other can lift him up. But if a man falls alone, and has no one to lift him up, that is a wretched thing. Moreover, two can keep warm together. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can withstand an attack. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. A poor but wise youth is better than an aged and foolish king. The latter no longer understands how to heed counsel. The youth may ascend to the throne from prison, or be born into poverty within the kingdom. I have observed all who live and walk beneath the sun, following this youth, the heir to the throne. Those who follow him are beyond number, yet later generations take no delight in this heir. This too is chasing after the wind. Vanity. Ecclesiastes chapter 3. To everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to uproot, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to tear down, and a time to build, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace, and a time to refuse and embrace, a time to seek, and a time to give up seeking, a time to keep, and a time to discard, a time to tear, and a time to mend, a time to be silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time for war, and a time for peace. What profit has the laborer from his labor? I have seen God set toil upon mankind, to afflict them with it. God has made everything beautiful in its time, and has set eternity in the hearts of mankind. Yet the mystery of the ages remains hidden from them. I know that there is nothing better for mankind than to enjoy their days of life, to do good, to eat and drink, and enjoy his labor in all his toil. This is God's gift. I have seen under the sun that in the place of judgment there is wickedness, and at the place of righteousness there is also wickedness. I said to myself, God will judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time for every matter, and a season for every work under heaven. I said to myself, God tests man, to make him know that he is but a beast, for man's end is like that of beasts. They all go to one place. Death follows like a shadow. No man can escape. All have the same breath, for the end of all is the same. All return to dust. What advantage has man over beasts? All is vanity. All is chasing the wind. All go to one place. All come from dust. All return to dust. Who knows if the spirit of man ascends upward, or the spirit of the beast into the earth? I have seen under the sun that there is nothing better for a man than to enjoy his labor, for that is his portion. Who can show him what will be after him? Ecclesiastes 2. Then I said in my heart, let me now try you with pleasure, and see what good pleasure may bring. But it too was vanity. Then I said, laughter is foolishness. What good is joy? I tried to find pleasure in wine, and to let folly delight me. Yet my heart guided me with wisdom, as I sought to understand what good people might do under the sun. During their brief existence, I undertook grand projects. I built houses for myself, planted vineyards, and laid out gardens and parks, filled with every kind of fruit tree. I dug pools to water the lush groves. I acquired male and female servants, and slaves born in my house. My herds of cattle and flocks of sheep surpassed those of all the kings of Jerusalem. I amassed gold and silver, and gathered treasures from the kings of the nations. I had male and female singers, and set up a harem, and all the delights of human heart. I surpassed all the kings who reigned in Jerusalem. All this wisdom was ever with me. Whatever my eyes desired, I did not withhold from them. Whatever my heart sought, I did not withhold from it. My heart rejoiced in my labor, and this was the reward for my labor. Yet when I considered the work of my hands, and the labor I had expended, it was all a chasing after the wind. Beneath the sun, all is futility. Then I turned my thoughts to wisdom and folly, to what the fool does. What can the successor to the king do, but what has already been done? I see that wisdom is better than folly, as light is better than darkness. The wise man sees the path, but the fool walks in darkness. Later I discovered that the end of both is the same. Then I said to myself, the fate of the fool will surely overtake me too. What profit is there in my being wise? I said to myself. This too is vanity, for the wise man will be no better off than the fool. No one remembers them. Both return to the dust and meet the same end. The wise man will be no better off than the fool. Both will die. So I came to detest life, because all my labor under the sun was painful. All this is chasing after the wind. Vanity. I loathe all my labor under the sun, for I must leave it to those who come after me. Who knows whether they will be wise or foolish? Yet they will have full control over the fruit of my labor, all I have poured out my heart and wisdom to achieve under the sun. This too is vanity. So my heart despaired of all the labor under the sun. Though a man labors with wisdom, and knowledge, and skill, he must leave all his wealth to one who has not toiled. This too is vanity, and a grievous affliction. Man labors under the sun, day after day in sorrow and vexation, day after day in toil, and even at night his mind finds no rest. All this is vanity. There is nothing better for a man than to eat and drink, and find enjoyment in his toil. Behold, this also comes from the hand of God. If man has no God, who can eat or drink, who can enjoy? God gives wisdom, knowledge and joy to those who please him, yet entrusts the task of amassing wealth to those who offend him, so that the wealth may be transferred to those who please God. This too is vanity, chasing the wind. Ecclesiastes. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity. The preacher said, vanity. All is vanity. All is vanity. What profit has a man who labors under the sun? One generation passes away, and another generation comes, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises, and the sun sets, hurrying back to where it rises. The wind blows south, and turns north. Round and round it goes, never to stop. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is never full to the full the river runs, never to be exhausted. All things are wearisome, and no man can utter them. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which a man can say, behold, this is new? Who knows what has already been? It existed in the generations before us. The former generations are forgotten. The coming generations will also be forgotten. I, the preacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem. I applied my mind to study all the works that are done under heaven. God has laid a heavy burden on mankind. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun. They are vanity. They are chasing the wind. What is crooked cannot be made straight. What is lacking cannot be counted. I said in my heart, behold, I have surpassed in wisdom all who were before me in Jerusalem. I have experienced much wisdom and knowledge, and devoted myself to understanding wisdom, and also to understanding folly and madness. But I found that this too is chasing the wind. For with much wisdom comes much sorrow, and with knowledge comes much grief. James 5. Now listen, you rich people, weep and wail, for the misfortune that is coming upon you. Your riches have rotted away, and your garments are moth-minus eaten. Your gold and silver have corroded, and their corrosion will be evidence against you, and will eat your flesh like fire. You have hoarded wealth in the last days. Behold, the wages you failed to pay the laborers who mowed your fields. have cried out, and the cries of the reapers have reached the ears of the Lord of hosts. You have lived in luxury and revelry on earth, and fattened your hearts. You have fattened yourselves for the day of slaughter, and have condemned the righteous man who did not resist you, and have killed him. Brothers, be patient until the coming of the Lord. Consider how the farmer waits for the precious produce of the earth, and is patient until it receives the early and late rains. You too must endure and strengthen yourself, for the Lord's coming is near. Brethren, do not grumble against one another, lest you be judged, for the judge stands at the door. Brethren and sisters, take the prophets as your example, and imitate their steadfast character in suffering. You know that we call those blessed who endure to the end. You have heard of Job's endurance, and seen what the Lord ultimately accomplished for him. The Lord is full of compassion and kindness. Above all, brothers and sisters, do not swear by heaven, or earth, or anything else. Let your yes be yes, and your no be no, so that you may not be condemned. Is anyone among you suffering? Let him pray. Is anyone cheerful? Let him sing praise. Is anyone among you sick? Let him call for the elders of the church, that they may anoint him with oil in the name of the Lord, and pray over him. The prayer offered in faith will restore the sick person, and the Lord will raise him up. If he has committed sins, he will be forgiven. Therefore confess your sins to one another, and pray for one another, that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. Elijah was a man just like us. He prayed earnestly that it might not rain, and for 3 years and 6 months it did not rain on the land. Then he prayed again, and the heavens gave rain, and the earth produced its fruit. Brothers, if any among you wanders from the truth, and someone turns him back, let him know that whoever turns a sinner from the error of his way saves his soul from death, and covers a multitude of sins. Music James 4. Where do the conflicts and quarrels among you come from? Are they not from the desires that battle within your members? You desire, and do not have, so you murder. You covet, and cannot obtain, so you fight, and quarrel. You do not have, because you do not ask. You ask and do not receive, because you ask amiss, only to squander it in your revelry. O you adulterers, do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? Therefore, whoever wishes to be a friend of the world is an enemy of God. Do you not understand what the Scripture says? The Spirit whom God has given us is the treasure he holds dear. He bestows his grace upon us out of his bounty. And again it is written, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Therefore submit yourselves to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. You with unclean hands, wash your hands, you double-minded. Purify your hearts. Be sorrowful. Mourn. Lament. Turn your laughter into mourning, and turn your laughter into mourning. Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up. Brethren, do not speak evil against one another. Whoever speaks evil against a brother, or judges a brother, speaks evil against the law, and judges the law. For when you judge the law, you are not a doer of the law, but a judge. There is only one who judges, the one who can save and destroy. But who are you to judge your neighbor? Look, you say, today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a town, and spend a year there, and trade and make a profit yet. You do not know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? You are but a mist, appearing for a little while and then vanishing. You ought only to say, if the Lord wills, we may live, and do this, or that. But now you boast in your arrogance, and all such boasting is evil. If anyone knows to do good, and does not do it, that is sin. James 3. My brothers, do not be many teachers, for we know that we shall be judged more severely. For we all stumble in many ways. If anyone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect man, able to bridle the whole body. For if a man steers a ship with a small rudder, whilst it is driven by strong winds, even a great ship can be steered by a very small rudder. whilst it is driven by strong winds. In the same way, the tongue is a small part of the body, and steered by the helmsman wherever he wills. Likewise, the tongue is a small member of the body, yet it boasts of great things. Behold, how a small fire can set ablaze a great forest. The tongue too is a fire, a world of evil among the members of the body, a world of corruption, which defiles the whole body, sets on fire the course of life, and is itself set on fire by hell. Every living creature, whether man, beast, birds, creeping things, have all been tamed by mankind, but no man can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil, full of deadly poison. With the tongue we bless the Lord, our Father, yet with the same tongue we curse men, who are made in God's image. Blessing and cursing come out of the same mouth. My brethren, this ought not to be. Can a spring pour forth both salt and fresh water from the same opening? My brethren, can a fig tree bear olives, or a grapevine figs? Can a salt spring yield fresh water? If any among you consider himself wise and discerning, let him show it by his good conduct, by deeds done in the humility that comes from wisdom. But if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast, and do not deceive the truth. Such wisdom does not come down from heaven, but is earthly, unspirited, demonic. For where there is envy and selfish ambition, there is disorder and every evil practice. But the wisdom from above is first of all pure, then peaceable, gentle, and full of mercy, and bearing fruit in righteousness, without partiality, and without hypocrisy. And the peacemakers, who sow in peace, reap a harvest of righteousness. James 2. My brothers, do not show partiality in your treatment of the holy man of God, who wears a gold ring and fine clothing, and enters your synagogue, and another poor man enters wearing filthy, ragged clothes. Do you show favor to the one in fine attire, and say, "Please sit here in this place of honor," while telling the poor man, "You stand there," or sit here at my feet? Is this not partiality in your hearts, and evil judgment? Dear brothers and sisters, listen to me. Has not God chosen the poor of this world to enrich them in faith, and inherit the kingdom promised to those who love him? Yet you dishonor the poor. Are not the rich the ones who oppress you? Are they not the ones who drag you into court? Are they not the ones who blaspheme the name of the honorable one to whom you belong? If you truly fulfill the royal law according to Scripture, love your neighbor as yourself, you are doing well. But if you show partiality in your dealings, you commit sin, and are convicted by the law as transgressors. For whoever keeps the whole law, yet stumbles at just one point, has become guilty of breaking all of it. For the one who said, "You shall not commit adultery," also said, "You shall not murder." If you say, "You shall not commit adultery," yet committed adultery, you have broken the law. If you say, "You shall not murder," yet murder, you have broken the law. Speak and act according to the law that sets you free. For whoever shows no mercy will be judged without mercy. Mercy triumphs over judgment. Brothers and sisters, what good is it if someone claims to have faith, but has no deeds? Can such faith save them? If a brother or sister is naked, and lacks daily food, and someone says to them, "Go in peace, be clothed well, and be fed well," yet does not provide for their bodily needs, what good is that? So faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. Someone may say, "You have faith, and I have works. Show me your faith without works, and I will show you my faith by my works, to prove that my faith is active." You believe that there is one God. You believe rightly. Oh, foolish man, even the demons believe and tremble. Do you wish to know how faith without deeds is useless? Our forefather Abraham offered his son Isaac on the altar. Was this not counted as his righteousness? Thus faith was active along with his deeds, and was perfected by them. As Scripture declares, Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness, and he was called God's friend. You see, a person is justified by works, and not by faith alone. Was not Rahab the prostitute also justified by works, when she welcomed the messengers, and sent them out by another way? In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. The Book of James chapter 1. A servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, brothers and sisters, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, and lacking nothing. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and he will give it to him. But let him ask in faith, without doubting, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. Such a person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. A double-minded person is unstable in all his ways. The lowly should rejoice in exaltation, the rich should rejoice in humiliation, for he will fade like a flower. For when the sun rises, and the scorching wind blows, the grass withers, and the flower fades, and beauty vanishes, so too shall the rich man wither in all his pursuits. Blessed is the man who endures temptation, for when he has been tested, he will receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to those who love him. When tempted, no one should say, I am being tempted by God, for God cannot be tempted by evil, neither does he tempt anyone. But each person is tempted when they are drawn away and enticed by their own desires. Then, when desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and when sin is fully grown, it gives birth to death. Dear brothers and sisters, do not be deceived. Every good and perfect gift comes down from above, from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation. Like a shifting shadow, he has begotten us through the word of truth, that we might be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. Dear brothers and sisters, remember this: a man ought to hear quickly, speak slowly, and be slow to anger, for man's wrath does not bring about the righteousness of God. Therefore, lay aside all filthiness and overflow of wickedness, and with gentleness receive the word implanted in you, which is able to save your souls. Do not merely listen to the word and deceive yourselves, but be doers of the word. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man who looks at his natural face in a mirror, and, having looked at himself, immediately goes away, and forgets what he looks like. But the one who looks intently into the perfect law, that gives freedom, and continues in it, such a person does not merely hear and forget, but puts what they hear into practice, and will be blessed in what they do. If anyone thinks they are religious, yet does not bridle their tongue, they deceive themselves, and their religion is worthless before God our Father. Religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world.